Oh my God. It works. You are kidding me on. Oh man. You couldn't make this up. You could. I am such a clown. Well, you know that anyway, but I usually I like to incorporate it into the pods, my clownishness, my stupidity. So here we go again. You can have a laugh at this. I hope you had a really nice night watching Rangers beating Annan Athletic 5-0. I had a really nice night watching Rangers beating Annan Athletic 5-0. But of course, you might have heard me mention in the last few post-match reaction pods that I've done for you outside Ibrox. I'm really feeling the cold because it's particularly bitterly cold. But it's my hands. I don't have gloves. And I think it's getting to the stage. I noticed I was starting to. I couldn't remember the substitutes. I always kind of struggle sometimes with the substitutions, remembering maybe the order of the substitutes or who come on for whoever. I can maybe tell you the five guys that come on or the five guys that come off, but I can't tell you who come on for who and what kind of minute it was, that kind of thing. But it's supposed to be a reaction point. It's not a match report. But it was really starting to get to me. And I'm thinking, is this the start of the old Alzheimer's kicking in? But it was the cold. It was the cold was starting to fry my brain. I couldn't remember my name sometimes, or who had been playing, or what the date was. And I was noticing other post-match reaction pods from what I watched Heart and Hand. I think Davey Edgar was talking about it in one of his post-match reaction pods. He was starting to forget stuff and all that. And Johnny McFarlane, Rangers Review, he's talking, oh, you have to make this quick, Joshua, or whoever was back in the studio, because I'm just freezing up here. It's freezing. So that's fine. It's not just me. So I thought I'd just get gloves because I've no warm foot. I was thinking about this tonight. So my wife gets me, she hears me moaning about this. Shut him up, him and his stupid podcast. Gets me some gloves. She's in the town getting stuff for herself last week, and she's like, there you go. Got you some gloves. Absolutely brilliant. Totally spoilt rotten. Fantastic. Here you go. These kind of furry fingered freaks right here. Fantastic. And I was walking along to the game the night and I'm thinking, do you know what? I don't think I've worn gloves to the Fitba. And I didn't have them on. I had them in my pocket. Because I get too warm. I'm generally too warm. If I'm having to walk in any way, shape or form, because I'm morbidly obese, I'm instantly roasting. I mean, the second I leave Ibrox after doing a post-match reaction pod, I'm sweating by the time I get to the roundabout. It's Edmiston Drive. The one that Stevie Gerrard come round in that video of him arriving for the St Mirren game that won 3-0 the day before we actually sealed 55 and folk are love bombing him as he pulled up that roundabout there. That's me. I get a sweat on by that point in time. So I was thinking, I don't think I've actually had worn gloves to the football. It must be for decades since I was like a teenager, like early teens, early to mid-teens, and it was either I got them at either the Rangers shop when it was in the corner of Copeland Road and Mafeking Street, the old Rangers shop, or I got them in Corner Duncan's. This place was called Corner Duncan's in Saltcoats, kind of haberdashers, hosiery place type scenario, which I don't know when it shut down. It was certainly going on in the 70s into the 80s. It's where you used to go and get your school trousers and things like that. Something you get stuff for school and that. School uniforms and that kind of stuff. It was either in there or in the Rangers shop that got this pair of Rangers gloves when I was it's corners. Everybody was, all these best shops were on a corner apparently. You'd probably had them if you're the same age as me. I'm like 56. If you're my kind of era, said around about the early 80s, and they were like blue. I think they were all blue. The fingers are all blue, and it was the kind of wrist. The bottom of the palm to the wrist was kind of blue, and maybe the middle bit, around the middle, like the knuckles was white, and then it had Rangers written in red. Or did it not have that at all? Am I just making that up? But they were definitely kind of classy, kind of quite 80s-y, red, white, and blue. There was a kind of pinstripe of reds going through the blue, and there was white there. They were really smart anyway, really dapper. I think that's probably the last time I wore gloves. They probably had zero kind of heat value whatsoever, but your heart was burning with the pride, the passion. There was a fire inside you because you were wearing the colours and you thought you looked the bee's knees. And I'm not trying to give it the old I earned my stripes. I was young at the time. I didn't know any better. Just going to Fitba, just going to see Rangers at Ibrox was absolutely magical. But it was that late 70s, early 80s period, before Souness arrived, after Jock Wallace had left us from his first period, where we were winning nothing. We were winning lots of League Cups and the odd Scottish Cup, but we couldn't win the league, and Ibrox was desolate. It was empty. There was 10,000 crowds, sub 10,000 crowds, were quite a common thing in the day. So I'm going with my uncle and that, but I was freezing. You didn't have the body heat, and the two corners weren't they filled in between, at each end of the Govan with the end stands. They were open as well as the two between the main stand and the two end stands. So it was absolutely freezing. So I was younger then. as well. Didn't have quite the same amount of body fat as I've got just now. So, but I think that's the last time I wore gloves. That's quite a thing. That's quite rinky dinky. And of course, I'm standing there, start of the game, or sitting there, sorry, in the main stand, and the game's no kicking off. The game's no starting. All the players are on the park. They're all set. No, Annan Athletic, the sneaky gets. They've made us shoot into the Copeland first half, obviously playing the mind games. And I thought, what's going on here? And so is everybody else. We're kind of looking at each other. And then I'm thinking, is this Premier Sports? We're not even on Premier Sports 1. We're on Premier Sports 2 the night. I don't know if there's some like curling tournament or a big bit of speedway in Poland the night that was taking precedence, but they've not got the respect for us to put us on their first channel. Premier Sports, why this glorified Satanta? Why are we hanging about waiting for them? I don't care if they're still on their adverts for diet pills and going on holiday and that kind of thing. Just get the game kicked off, and everybody starts looking towards the tunnel, and I'm thinking, I bet it's the director. It'll be the outside broadcast unit director for Premier Sport that's waiting for him to give it or they'll have something. He's in the ear of somebody who's done there with a clipboard and all that, just ready to go. Okay, and the referee's waiting to get the go ahead. Once the commercials are finished on Premier, but it was that. I'm counting the players. We're missing a player here. That's the problem. And then Big Nasser Giga comes down the tunnel with gloves. He's got his gloves, but he's just getting his gloves, so he's away finding gloves. Now, I've not been to Burkina Faso, and I've not been to Morocco for the last month. Like he had up until Aberdeen last week. He was in the squad for the Aberdeen game. And he didn't get a game there at all. So, but he must be feeling the Scottish weather. If I'm feeling cold and I'm brought up here, he's used to warmer climes. It's going to be brutal. I know he's playing for Wolverhampton and Red Star Belgrade, but he had a taste of the proper cold weather. But I think that's fine. He's got gloves. But it was a great thing as well. It was a great thing because then we've won 5 straight SPFL Premiership games. We're joint with Celtic on points. We're only 6 behind Hearts, who definitely have got a 6-point drop in them. We have got all these new signings that arrived. We've got the 3 new signings unveiled at the start of the game. The night, everything's just gone absolutely about. The place is feeling fantastic, but it was so bad at the beginning of the season. There was so much toxicity in the area. So to go from everything's crap and we hate you Rangers to everything's brilliant, we adore you Rangers, it's too much. So it's good in the main stand particularly. Well, that's the moaniest, maybe the moaniest part of Ibrox, the main stand, I would say. Main stand front, it's proper old school. That's where I am. We need something like that. You need something. So it gave us a wee kind of, he's not even getting bloody gloves on. He's not getting gloves. He's away getting gloves. I mean, how did he not know that he was going to need gloves? You think in the warm-up, warm being the operative term there, you think in the warm-up he would have realised how bloody cold it was to get yourself organised with gloves. You're thinking, oh, that's good things I've said. But that was us. We were all warmed up. We were into it. We were into a proper Rangers game. There'd be too much feel good in the air, and that was it. The main stand. And I'm thinking, that's some. But I'm thinking to myself, then I say it out loud, which is because I was saving it for you guys. You get the pleasure of hearing my nonsense. I'm thinking, his gloves. The first game in decades, probably, that I've worn gloves to the Fitba. But the game gets held up because one of the Rangers players is wearing gloves. The symbiosis. So when it came to do my post-match reaction pod tonight, I suddenly realised, as I'm walking round to take my wee spot behind the Broomland Road stand to get the post-match, I'm thinking, oh, these gloves, wait a minute, I'll not be able to, the touchscreen stuff, I'll not be able to press the button to press record. I'll need to take the glove off. How's that? And how can I get it back on when I'm holding the phone in one hand and I'm holding the microphone in the other hand? How am I going to be able to get my other glove on? So what I did, there's a wee window, you probably never noticed it. It's about the size of the Waddle window, to be honest with you. There's a wee tiny window, I don't know, it must be for stewards or something like that, that's next to one of the turnstiles at the back of the Broomland. They've probably shot us doing the turnstiles, and that's a wee window. You can see in to the concourse through it, but it's more like it's got a windowsill. I thought, that's perfect. I'll just prop the phone up against that. And if you go in and check out my YouTube short, this channel, you're watching one of my videos just now. You see the wee kind of the site navigation stuff, and you'll see that it's there's shorts as well. The clips that are between 15 seconds and 3 minutes long. You can make them YouTube shorts. Now I'll just use that to post little excerpts from my videos, just because some folk can't stand the fact that they're so long and maybe they're so I props the phone up against that. And I'm thinking this is classic. What I can do here is I'll just put it up again. I've done it. You can see it. I've done it on this video. It's the start of the 45-minute post-match reaction I did outside the Broomland, the back of the Broomland the night after the game, and I've sat it up there while I thought I'll rest that there, and then I'll press record, and then I'll just get my other glove on while saying to folk, I'm sorry about that. I just hope that the symbiosis between me and my team, though, because I've had to hold up the start of the pod while I get my gloves on. I'm just like Rangers the night, and Nasser Jiga holding us up to get his gloves on. When I was resting the phone, I have to put a wee receiver. If you know how these microphone things work, you get a wee receiver with them, and you have to shove it into the end of the phone so it'll pick up the mic. Because the microphone that comes with the phone itself it's too tinny. It's not good enough. And it sticks in the bottom. You just shove it in the bottom of your phone. So I'd rested that up in this wee windowsill, and it must have just slightly knocked the little receiver thing, just made it a wee bit loose. So when I picked up my phone and I started chatting away, within about 30 seconds there was just this. No, you can see it. You watch my YouTube short, it goes into that, and you see me yakking away, totally blissfully unaware that all anybody can hear is. Apparently, it's actually turned out my most popular post-match reaction pod. Folk think that's better than my usual stuff. But it went on like that for 45 minutes. So what I did is that's 45 minutes, a bit long, but never mind. I wanted to make it a bit short because I did a tour preview pod. You guys deserve a break. But I walked back to it takes me about 20 minutes, 25 minutes to walk back to the car, because where I park it, and I can be up the road. I'm up the road usually about 15 to 20 minutes after that, and I'll upload the video once I get back in the house. Because I'm quite a short way from Ibrox by car. But what I'll do is when I get back into the car, when I arrive back at my car in the Ibrox area, I will put on the Bluetooth connection on the phone and I'll listen to it as I'm driving. I'll listen just to hear in case I've said anything completely stupid. I'll listen to the first wee bit of it as I'm driving back to the house. So I listen to the first wee bit of it and it's within 30 seconds. And I'm thinking there must be something interfering with the stereo in the car here or something like that. But no, it was the recording. So I had the choice then, just go back to Ibrox. Just take the motorbike to Ibrox, park up outside the Broomlin, and then put it. I'm like, well, that's faking it. That's no real. So here I'm back in the house, and I've got the hat on, and I've got the gloves back on, and I just realised I remember the back of my mind there. It's when I got the gloves in under the harsh light of this wee room, I noticed that the thumb and that finger, it's got a dark bit. The fingers in them are darker than the other three fingers, and I'm thinking, is that a different? And it suddenly clicked with me. My wife had said to me, I think you can get these phones that lets you operate your screen. This might just be standard. Everybody, with a brain, everybody who's existed in the world probably knows this. I haven't had gloves. I haven't needed them, as I say, for 30, 40 years. So this was news to me, and I just remember her saying it, and I got back and I thought, I just tried it the other night to come on to and it works. I had no need to do that whole thing with the gloves tonight. These work. These little fingers. There's got one finger that's got the wee thing in the end of it, so you can use the gloves. And why have I got the hat on? We're going to talk about the game against Annan. Don't worry about it. You can fast forward. I'll timestamp this. But I've still got the hat on. It's quite a thing. It's quite revealing that I need you to know that I was there. I think particularly because it's a game where there was a lot of empty seats, a lot of folk weren't bought Friday night. It's obviously a lot of expense over Christmas and New Year, and you're getting asked to go to a game. It's not in the season ticket and that. If I'm not at a game, I'm quite happy to talk about it. I'm quite happy. That's the only home game I've not been to this season was at Middlesbrough friendly. The Middlesbrough pre-season friendly. That's the only one I've not been to this for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and that's all I talked about. I'm not going to that game. In my pods, I talk about the fact I don't go to away games at all. I watch them on the telly. I'm upfront about that. But see the thought of anybody thinking I wasn't at a game that I was at, I can't stand it. It's like almost like a prestige thing. By that I mean, no, it's a big deal to go to the football, but there's that wee pride that's still there that I was at the game. I was there. I was in Ibrox because. The thought that he's in the house doing the post-match, he's just watching the telly. It's terrible. I couldn't actually handle it. I don't mind coming on here. I'm morbidly obese. I'm disgusting. The state of me is an absolute disgrace. The jowls, the 15 chins and all that. Just in general, in life, not to do with presenting myself in a podcast. I don't care. I have no shame in that respect. That's half the problem. But But the idea that you think I am now doing a post-match reaction pod from inside the house because I watched the game inside the house, that's killing me. So I've still got the hat on. It's actually roasting in here. I've got to leave the house to get out into the. This is the problem. I'm trying to make it. I was all systems going like make it a short post-match reaction pod. That's 50 minutes in. I've not even spoken about the game yet. This stuff happens. It's not. You're not watching me to find out what happened in the game and all that. You're watching me just to another Rangers supporters angle. And just to reflect your own emotions or whatever, see if I agree with the stuff that you were thinking and all that. But it's just I haven't watched the game. That's the other thing. I mean, I've been in the house. It's, to be honest, I'm freezing. It takes me ages to warm back up when I get into the house. So what I did was I just had a cup of tea and I've had 4 hot cross buns. There's 2 packs of 4 for £1.50, an offer on just now in Morrison's. I got them the day. So I've had the 4 of them with a couple of decaf teas. But I had to sit and watch, and my wife's in her bed, so I had to watch a film on mute just to have something on in the background because I couldn't watch the Fitbit because I want this to be my. If I could have sat and watched an hour's worth of the game between getting back into the house and then setting up this post. So it's not an immediate post-match reaction pod, it's just a post-match reaction pod. I was walking along, getting it, and I should have known it started like this as well because I'm walking along. As I was walking down the Copland Road, but it wasn't. It was Edmiston Drive. I come down Shield Hall Road after I got out the motor, and I could park a bit closer. That way, there's more parking spaces closer to Ibrox. You know that it's going to be a smaller crowd, and I never miss a start. I think I've missed kick-off, particularly in a Rangers game, but any football match I've been, I think I've missed kick-off maybe about half a dozen times in the last 20 years or something. If it was because I'm really anal about seeing the whole game, getting the whole game seen, and yet I don't seem to be able to translate that into get yourself ready in time to get out of the house. I'm always rushing. There's a massive. It was a lasagna for 2 people tonight. Of course, there's no way it's getting sure it's all for me. It was 11 minutes. I mean, it was 6 minutes. Then let it stand for a minute. Then another 5 minutes in the microwave. That was quicker than putting it the 40 minutes in the oven. But I did let it stand, and it's absolutely roasting. I mean, it's just you have been microwaving it for 11 minutes. I thought to myself, you should maybe made it a bit earlier. But I'm just like, it's burning the tap off my mouth, burning my tongue and stuff like that. So anyway, cut a long story short. I am heading along Edmiston Drive, and I'm going to get there. I know I'm going to be in my seat for kick-off, but most of the crowd is already in front of me, and it's that thing where you look up the Bluebell Gates. If you come with the direction I come from, you look up through the Bluebell Gates, and you'll see the back of the Copland, between the main stand and the Broomland, the gates, the gap that Stevie G got love bombed as he drove the motor into Ibrox. The stewards were fawing out and all that, the police were fawing, trying to get the crowd back as that was lockdown. And he goes in that gap in there, the Gerrard gap. That's I can see in that, particularly a night like tonight when it's starting the floodlights are on. It's lovely. The floodlights are on at Ibrox, and I could see there's a few gaps up the back of the Copland. The crowd's still coming in, and you can hear the PA. That it's at one remove. You can hear the vibration, the reverberation, the noise more than the actual content of what's being said over the PA. But it just sounds like the team's getting ready. That's usually what's happening. There's this massive roar. An absolutely massive roar, and it's just because you do it all the time, you're in that routine. I rarely miss a game. I was there. That's really extraordinary. Oh, that'll be for Chuck Wani. Chuck Wani, well, his name was get mentioned. He's going to be in the bench the night, so that's nice. But I don't think anybody's that excited about Chuck Wani. We're pleased he's arriving, but it's me this Scov Olsen guy that we're excited about. I wonder what everybody seems to be right up for it. I didn't realise they were out in the park. The three new signings were on the park. They're out on the pitch side. They've been announced. They've been shown to the crowd. I didn't know Scov Olsen had signed for us until I left the game at the end of full time. I didn't know he'd been out there. I mean, it's quite nice. Nobody got. I remember when we won 9 in a row in the first game. The first game of the attempt at 10 in a row. My sister she came to pick me up at my flat at the time, and she was taking me to the game, and had she bought the tickets or something? I can't remember what it was. But she was just kind of hanging about. She's as bad as me in the house and all that, and wanting to take the time, get to the motor, and she's chatting away. I didn't know what to say. But the flag was going up. I knew the flag was getting raised before this game. That was the night Marco Negri scored the 5 goals against Dundee United. and we go into the game, and we're in the Govan, that night in front of the Govan, and I didn't want to say anything. I was like, I've missed the flag going up, but I don't want to tell my sister that. She doesn't go to Fibber that often, that she's not Rangers sympathiser more than anything else, It was a wee night out with her brother for her, whereas I'm just like, you're just the transport. As far as, she probably bought my ticket as well. You're just my trip. You're getting me in there. That's what it's about. But I couldn't say to her, get a move on here. So we go in. I knew I could hear the roars, and I knew it's for the flag going up. But I didn't want to say anything to her, and we get inside, we sit down, and the guy next to us goes, my sister's like blissfully unaware, and the guy next to us goes, "Oh, you missed the flag getting up, fuck!" And I couldn't say to him, "Fuck you, you pit." So I just kind of went, "Fuck!" And my sister was in tears. She realised what she'd done and all that, and it turned out that was I stopped blaming her. We would have won 10 in a row. If I'd seen that flag going up, we would have won 10 in a row. But that was the kind of thing. Wasn't it like that the night? Nobody was saying to me, "Oh, he's missed Scov Olsen." I don't know what we're talking about when we got in. Probably my new gloves. But it never get mentioned. I didn't realise until I checked my phone in the way out that the Scov Olsen and two Romans and things had been part. It's like the whole point of this game was this is your fat ache, immediate, in no way immediate post. Don't worry about the fact that we've won 5-0 in our first game in the Scottish Cup at Ibrox, exactly the same as we did last season. Don't worry about it until we get Queen's Park in the draw for the fifth round. Are Queen's Park still in it? I don't know. That'd just be like the thing. Reaction pod coming to you in association with Jersey Night. Check out Jersey Night every Friday, 9 p.m, every Sunday, 9:30 p.m, except this Friday and last Sunday. But that's the new manager, the head coach, Danny Röhl. He likes to chop and change things. He likes to mix things up to keep everybody on their toes, get the best performance. So that's what Jersey Night is. There's a bit of illness in the camp last Sunday. Obviously, the game's on the night, so it wouldn't be on in Friday night. I'm saying the night. Last night. It's now the earlier Saturday morning. But I check out Jersey Night. There'll be somebody, I don't know who it is, but it's somebody definitely on Sunday nights. And I'm sponsored by Kwality Street. No, Kwality Street, the chocolates. You get the big. It used to be a boat. It used to be a tin. Now it's a tub. Isn't it? You get a plastic tub. A Kwality Street, you get the big things. Chris, I'm more a kind of heroes type of person, but Rangers are always my heroes. Even when we were playing Annan the first time we played them, they drew 0-0 with them down at Gala Bank in 2012, the first time we played them in the plastic pitch. David Templeton stood there in that kit. So in Setanta, it was a dull day in the green plastic, and we've got that. The 1972 kind of 140/40th anniversary kit with just the big T, the Tenants, and it's so bright, it's so Union Jack with the red socks with the white fold, and it just so dull. It's on Setanta, and Setanta's got the red, the black and the yellow, the black and the gold, the livery, the same as Annan, and it was 0-0, and it was live and telling it, why are we here? And the last time we played Annan in the league, they beat us, didn't they? They beat us the second time at Ibrox, but even then I supported Rangers. Even then I was in love with Rangers. Even then Rangers were my heroes. Even then they were my heroes. But it's all about quality, isn't it? It doesn't matter. I'm just a lovesick puppy. It's all about the quality. What is the quality of the heroes you're worshipping, Alec? And the Quality Street. I know Celtic. It was the Quality Street Kids or the Quality Street Gang. One of the just can't get enough kind of things that they like to have a wee nickname. It's supposed to be the Inheritors, the Lisbon Lion Legacy, one of Jock Stein's later teams and that. But never mind that. I'm talking about quality with a capital K, a capital W, quality. But it's in a plastic tub. Maybe that's what it's been like with Rangers. The quality and name only. Getting to a certain point, getting to second in the league, making sure they're getting to Hampden regular, and even the odd European final, but not quite the. But then my wife come home for her work, just at the Christmas holidays, and get presents and that kind of thing, and she had a tin. Quality Street, the hexagonal thing, is that a 50 pence piece shape or whatever? Quality Street is squared round the edges, the classic. Quality Street's been a main thing since I was a kid, especially at Christmas night. You get the Rosies, you get the Heroes these days, but Quality Street was the one, and it's hexagonal, but it's a tin, the hexagonal tub, but it's a tin, and it's got a double seal, double kind of sellotape seal, hasn't it? Keeping the lid on it, and because I know, because there's no way I could just sneak in there, because I went through my heroes pretty quick. I used them up pretty quick, and the Rosies were gone as well. Even the wee mini pack of Ferrero Rocher, she let me steal them. She's not interested in Ferrero Rocher, so I had them as well. But she kept it sealed. That was her Quality Street, and eventually I had to ask her, I've kind of run out of chocolate. She's like, fucking red ones. You touch the red ones, you're dead. I don't want the red ones, the ones that are red packet, the red ones, she likes them, but I just decimated everything else. But put the tin lid on it. That's put the tin lid. These signings, being where we are in the league, the way Danny Röhl's got us playing in the league, only dropping 3 points. Only dropping 3 points out the 21 that were available in those 7 successive SPL Premiership games we were playing. This isn't another competition, a different competition tonight. It feels a holiday, a change as good as a rest. It feels like a wee break. But put the tin lid on it. These 3 signings we've got in the door. We need more. But I'm sponsored by Jersnet, and I'm sponsored by Quality Street 666, the number of the beast. The hell and fire were spawned to be released. That's 666. It's Elaine Bruce Dickinson there. He's the lead singer of Iron Maiden, and I was slagging folk here at private school. So I did about private school people slagging the other day, and that's no fair. You can't judge everybody the same way. I know plenty of private school folk that are actually really, really nice, and ones that aren't nice but are nice to me as well. It's quite. But Bruce Dickinson, he was private school, a different kind of background for what you'd expect for most private school folks, and who doesn't like Iron Maiden? So great guys. So there you go. That's Iron Maiden. But the whole point for me is it's a 6. It's a 6. I know we're talking tonight about Rangers. Fünf on a Friday night, a Freitag Fünfer, a Friday 5. I'm Alec Anderson. I'm talking to you from outside Ibrox. Straight after Rangers have beaten Annan Athletic of League 2 by 5-0 in the 4th round of the William Hill Scottish Cup to power their way easily and faintly entertainingly. Quite frankly, it was quite nice, quite entertainingly, very, very efficiently, very upliftingly, as uplifting as it can be when you're faced with opposition that you simply have to beat. Minnows, David's to your Goliath. Job done as well as it possibly can be. And I'm talking to you after this because oh god, I'm so tired now. I'm no freezing anymore. I'm absolutely roasting. But now I'm absolutely knackered. What was I talking about? I'm talking about the fact we beat them and it's good. But it's 5. We scored 5, but the 6 number of the beast. There's a whole point we made there. Is I want a proper 6. I want a proper 6 because I think what's happening now is I'm the first one to slag Rangers support. We'll talk about the game, but that was a side issue, isn't it? The vibe we're on just now, it's all about the signings, isn't it? It's all about the signings, all about the positivity, all about preparing for the Champions League. Not to get into the Champions League via winning the title, but preparing for the actual Champions League group stage. We're getting a squad built up that's going to be, it'll take doings, but it'll no be. I mean, the squad we had at the beginning of the season, we were getting beaten 10 and 12-0, nearly did in the qualifiers of Bruges. So it looks like they're just building up to be in the group stage for next season, but. That's the main. That's the big vibe. And Joe Rothwell was out on the park tonight. Our number 6, wearing the number 6, and the lesser spotted Joe Rothwell's playing and did okay on it, but he's just not what we want, is it? He's not what we want. And I'm slagging that the whole club is getting at the beginning of the season for Rangers supporters. Like throwing stuff in the park. I'm not. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm the first one to be on here going, I think we just need to grow up a bit. I think that's just a bit of an overreaction. I think you're actually distancing yourself from the club. Almost, you don't deserve to celebrate. But you win something, if you're going to boot, you have to remember there comes a point where you're just not supporting Rangers. Don't buy stuff for the club store and all that. Boycott them and this banners with the directors and the head coaches' heads and crosshairs and that. No, you've taken that too far. I'm the first one to be like let's calm this down. But see the minute we start doing well, it goes completely the other way with me. I'm then a big spoilt Wayne. In fact, not a spoilt Wayne. I think I'm more just now like a gangster's mall, or maybe the secretary that's been kept in a penthouse apartment by the boss, and she's getting a bit restless. And the guy that he's in his 60s or whatever, he owns the company, he's a millionaire or whatever, and he's keeping her and the secretary. But she's just getting a bit restless, and she's thinking about telling his wife and that thing because he's not spending enough time with her, and he's got to buy her stuff to keep. That's me now. I'm suddenly kind of no. I want a 6. I want a 6. But hey, come on, I got you, Chuck Wuani. Oh, he's played at 6. He has played at 6, but I don't think he's an actual out and out 6. I want somebody who's better than that. I've got you, you, the Olsen guy, you said you wanted a Cherney or you wanted was it a Candace or something like that? I even got him, he's got the left foot thing, he's plays on the right, but he's got left foot, the same as Cherney. That's state of the art, that's top of the range, that thing. Aye, that's fine, okay. If you think that's what it takes, if you think it's just buy my affection, that's absolutely fine. I mean, I don't mind you getting me one me thing, that's nice, but I mean, it takes more than that to keep a girl like me happy. It's alright, okay. I've got your left back for game. You know, saying Magoma deserves a break. Well, I've got your left back to give him a break. But he's not going to be fit for a fortnight, is he? Not going to be fit for a fortnight. Maybe I should give your wife a wee phone and maybe see. But no, all right, okay, all right. No, don't do that, doll. Don't do that. What can else? What else are you looking for here? What else are you looking for? I want a 6. I want a 6. I want a proper 6. And I want to. All right, I'll get you one. That's fine. Okay, I'll get you a 6. And that'll do. So that'll do you. I think that'll do. Maybe I should go and have a wee word with the Union Bears there. They're quite quick to drop their coloured balls on the park if things only gone to. Oh no, don't talk to Union Bears. Just don't talk to. What else can I get? Just let a striker. I want a wee striker as well. You want another striker? We've got the guy. It's 8 million. Well, he didn't work out, did he? He didn't work out. Got him for Thelwell stores. Thelwell, cheap garbage. You know, you're paying too much money for cheap nonsense. I want a striker. I want a striker, and I want him bought for one of the two shops we go to, the two jewellers we go to in Edinburgh. I'm getting really suddenly wanting everything. It's a 6 to like hell and fire. It was spawned to be unleashed or whatever it is. And 666 a number of the beast, because if we get a proper 6 and then that lets Raskin just go and bomb. Raskin doesn't have to cover or pretend he wants to cover it. Just bomb on and unleash hell and fire on the whole of the rest of this league. So we're playing Annan Athletic tonight in the Scottish Cup, and yeah, it was a miasma of kind of black and gold. And I was talking to Big Phil in the comment section on my preview pod. We were just talking about it. We're mixing up Alloa and we want to have maximum respect for these teams because they wanted to play us. Back in 2012, we needed a division to play in, and there was other divisions in Scottish football that didn't want to play us, despite the fact we'd financed their clubs for years, for decades, through selling out their away ends endlessly. But no, it was the lower leagues, and we used to applaud them off the park. At the end of the games in the third division, even if, like in the case of Annan and Peterhead, they'd both beaten us at Ibrox. But it was, I think, the first team we're playing in the Scottish Cup this season at Ibrox is Annan Athletic, just like the only other lower league team we've played this season competitively. It was our first game in the League Cup, and that was back in August. That was Alloa Athletic, the A's, and Annan that beating us at Ibrox that time in the league. Alloa that time beating us at the Petrofac Training Cup semi-final. Which I just can't ever stop going up. The two of the lowest moments that kind of characterised two of the little nightmare scenarios. Still in Albion doing a job on us as well, and too many other things to talk about. But that characterised the horrors of being in the lower divisions for 4 years, but then he might be ungrateful for it, because he had to go somewhere. But it just can't help getting them kind of mixed up, and so because it's the black and the gold and the yellow and the black and the Alloa and the Annan, the two horror games, and I was at Ibrox for the Annan one, and I was watching the other one in the couch in Gaelic. It's just unbelievable games. It's been little traumas to remind you of where we've been, how bad things have been, and what this could be the end. It's the real end of it is when we start retaining league titles and winning cups along with a league title and stuff like that, and you start to feel that we're getting there. You start to feel that we're getting that kind of, we've got that money behind us. As soon as the 49ers took over, that should always have been the end of that, and it's starting to look like it is, because Andrew Kavanagh means business in this transfer window, and he's already meant business by having Danny Röhl in there doing an absolutely fantastic job with the stuff he was served up by Kevin Thelwell. So it's quite a thing to be playing Annan, having them there in the Scottish Cup, and they turned up in the black and gold, so a very Auchinleck Talbot kit, and I thought that was really decent of them, having a wee nod to another lower league, non-league side that we want to do the business this weekend, when we do want to do the business. But what did we disrespected them? We disrespected them by wearing a Stranraer kit. What were we... Maybe that's why they made a shoot towards the Copeland in the first half. So, fucking hell, we've turned up here wearing Auchinleck Talbot colours, and you're wearing the Stranraer kit, because that is one of the rivalries. The only time I've seen Annan at Galabank was I went down to see them. They only joined the league in 2008 to replace Gretna, who then played at a ground behind Galabank, the Gretna 2008. But the only time I've actually seen Annan down there, they were playing Stranraer at the time. I just went down before, because I'd never see Rangers playing in the lower leagues, would I? So I went down to tick off. I tried to tick off all the grounds in the Scottish League in all the divisions, and they were playing Stranraer, and that's a bit of a rivalry for them. I know it's a bit further away than Queen of the South and Dumfries or Gretna, who were playing their back door, but they got a bit of a rivalry with Stranraer as well, and we were in the kicks. I was watching this, and I'm thinking it's the blue socks, right? The blue socks with a white fold. I'm thinking David Templeton and the green plastic at Galabank back in 2012 when Satanta. It was a Saturday, 12 o'clock kick-off, and it was dull. And the kit never looked more Union Jack, and it was actually a good kit. The retro kit, just the crew neck, and try to be as plain as possible. The skull top with Umbro and the T for tenants, but no, true no. But I was thinking that I was watching, but it was there wearing that kit. And I'm watching us going, why the red socks with the white fold that won the Cup Winners' Cup final, that was absolutely fine. But the blue socks with the white fold just transforms the Rangers kit into not being a Rangers kit from a distance anyway. The distance of the main stand, and I hate Rangers wearing white socks. I hate us wearing white socks with our home shorts and home socks, our home shorts and home top. Because as long as I've been in my lifetime, Celtic have mostly worn all white socks, so I don't like Rangers doing that, and it looks kind of peely wally. But it still looks like Rangers, whereas putting more blue into your kit, or that amount of blue, because if you go all blue, the blue shorts and the blue like we won a European final, we were in Europe all the time, the all blue, that's looking pretty Rangers. But there's something about the white shorts with the blue socks and the blue socks with a white fold on them. I think it's at Leicester City we look like. It makes us look less Rangers by having that much blue on the kit. It's really weird, that exact amount. And is it Leicester City? Let's make it the Jock Wallace Leicester City that beat Liverpool at Anfield for the first time in ages. It stopped their record-breaking unbeaten home run. The Jock Wallace Leicester that broke Gary Lineker into fit by that, but it's maybe no Leicester City. Is it Japan? It looks like all Japan kits, but it was too light. I think we're blue for Japan. I think Japan's a darker blue, and I thought it was Brazil. It looks the Brazil away kit, the classic with the blue and the white shirt. I've seen them wearing that in the World Cup, maybe. And we're having players from different areas of the world now. It's not like you should see John Brown wearing the. I love Bomber. Bomber's one of my all-time Rangers heroes. I always get him in my all-time 11, so I mean no disrespect. And when I say this is a fellow kind of pasty, retired ex-ginger, when we had that Monaco away kit, the red and white half the top and the red socks, Bomber just looked like he was wearing the Rangers away kit. There's some Rangers players in that, David Cooper and that, and looked pretty. It looked like they were wearing a Monaco kit, but Bomber just looked like he was wearing the Rangers away kit. But the players we've got from all over the world just now are pretty glamorous looking. We could be anybody when you're looking at us for that distance. I'm thinking, is it Cruzeiro? No, it's Cruzeiro. The Brazilian club. But I think they wear white socks. I think they're white socks with the white tops and the same blue as us. Because it's not Stranraer. It's bloody Stranraer. Look how disrespectful is that? So they made his kick into the Copeland first half, and Liam Kelly, absolutely brilliant in his press conferences. Generally, Liam Kelly is always good value. He definitely loves the club, very down to earth, and he was talking this week about Danny Röhl's main contribution being just no drama. The unsaid thing was it was nothing but drama under the previous regime, the previous management, and perhaps director of footballing regime. So it's been great under Danny Röhl. Great to see Liam Kelly getting a chance, and Jack Butland's to replace Jack Butland in it, but he's made captain, and I thought it was lovely. It was lovely to see Liam Kelly getting the captain's armband, and there was as many changes as I was anticipating. I think reading between the lines of what Danny Röhl had said, you're anticipating the changes, but my God, it was only two starters from the Aberdeen, only two remained from the team that started at Pittodrie, and that was Judy Gassimer and Jaden Magoma. So the best thing is to get through the whole team. You probably already know this anyway, but it was Max Aarons. Good to see him getting a run out. It's kind of a mix of guys who are coming off the bench every now and then in the first day in the match squad, but no quite playing regularly, and guys who are kind of coming off the darkened recesses of the first team squad that we might never see again. But it was Liam Kelly in goals, Max Aarons at right back. Jaden Magoma kept his place at left back. Now, come on, I was getting a bit really slagged rotten by one. Big Phil was saying to me, "What are you talking about?" I was going for Kieran Dowell. I thought Kieran Dowell was going to be playing at left back tonight. Okay, because Jaden Magoma, the manager had said, Danny Röhl had said in his pre-match presser, we're going to give a lot of guys have been basically bitching to get a chance at the first team. They're going to get it. They better take it. They better make sure that they're ready for it. But we've got to manage the load of a lot of other players. And I thought, Jaden McComa hasn't stopped. He hasn't stopped playing. So I couldn't think who we're going to have as backup. We've got this guy Romans coming in, but he's no good for anything other than being on the pitch before the game starts, being on the track side while I'm huffing and puffing my way up Edmondson Drive. He's no good to go for another fortnight, but maybe the manager's just thinking, the head coach Danny Röhl's just thinking, right, okay, get Romans. He's going to be available in a fortnight, so let's just get the best out of Jaden McComa. Up until then, young man's played a lot of football non-stop, but in he went at left back, and Nasser Jiga, once he got his gloves on, he's back from AFCON not having played a minute, so he needs the game time. And there's he was alongside the lesser spotted Clinton and Ciala. In terms of getting a start, he's been coming on as a sub every now and then, Clinton and Ciala, but he got a start again tonight at centre half. And I think it was a 4-2-3-1. Nominally, the sitting two was supposed to be Kieran Dow, the lesser spotted Kieran Dow, a good favourite of Russell Martin's. Did all right, I thought, at the beginning of the season in the games. Everybody else was so terrible. Maybe it just made him look the better by comparison. Remember, I'm playing against Motherwell Fir Park out on the right hand side and playing against Panathinaikos and that. But it's Kieran Dow was in there amid talk of him going to Hull for the rest of the season, and there was Joe Rothwell, our actual six. So I wasn't expecting him to start, but I know the manager. I did mention my pre-match. My preview pod that the manager had said he was getting back to fitness, but Joe Rothwell did come out and make an appearance. We're thinking maybe that's going to be him on the way somewhere as well. But this was the thing with this team we put out tonight. A lot of players who are not getting game time and are probably talking about moves somewhere else, and we got performances out of them all. Up the three was JD Gassama, who started on the left hand side. On the wide of the three, I'm sure Danilo's playing 10, and on the right hand side it was Finlay Curtis who's on his way to Kilmarnock. Supposedly that's a chat anyway. Maybe this has all been, I didn't know Scott Olsen had actually signed for us, so maybe the Finlay Curtis deal to Kilmarnock has fallen through, or it's just been confirmed he's just going to go there in a few days or whatever. And up front it was Bojan Majowski, who's been kind of pushed to the back by injury and also by Youssef Chermiti becoming our all-round hero. I think normally it was a 4-2-3-1, but Kieran Dow was so high up it kind of looked like a 4-1-4-1 most, and sometimes it was just like basically 3-7, but just all-out attack. And Annan Athletic had the first and last word in this game. They had a shot over the bar, quite a decent shot over the bar, around about 1 minute 52 seconds. I wasn't watching the telly. I just looked up at the clock and stayed, honestly. I think they're number 5 for the shot for you outside the box, and in the last kick of the game, there was only 1 minute injury time at the end of the game. Only 1 minute injury time at the end of the first half. We didn't even play the full minute at the end of the game. In the second half, the Copeland Roads, Chuck Wiwani had to clear one off the line once he'd come on as a sub, and shortly after that, Annan fired it back just past the left-hand post at the Copeland end, and that was it. That was the final action of the game. But in between times, Rangers scored 5 goals and made 5 interesting substitutions. It was lovely. It was a lovely night out. It's one of the nights that there wasn't Union Bears. Everybody was right up for it, obviously, because they'd all seen the bloody the new signings getting paraded, while Numpty here was still kind of, I better get my QR code big enough on my phone to get in the turnstiles. It's a lovely atmosphere, but the Union Bears were buzzing. No tifos on that tonight, but like nice big salt tire as well. Almost like it when we represent Scotland. I'm not an SNP fan or anything like that, but just like to. Anyway, so there's a lot of kids. There's a lot of young kids. Wee Wayne's properly obviously gone to their first game. It's not in the season ticket. It creates a kind of special atmosphere sometimes at these games. It can create a kind of lackadaisical atmosphere, but there was definitely, as Paul McStay would say, a buzz about the place. And all these wee bastards just along for the burgers, really, and the pies and all that. I don't know anything about fit, but I got to the very first Rangers game, and yet me, who's been paying my jersey, I've been going to see Rangers for 47 years, I don't get to see the new 3 signings parading themselves. But what's the tell? They just sent out an email or something saying this was going to happen. I've already got knocked back for getting myself onto the roundel. I wanted to do the roundel for the game against Ludogorets, but apparently you've got to be between 15 and 24 or something like that. And so it was nice. There's some goals. There was some first team players there. There's more first team players coming on. They got to see the new signings at the beginning of the game. The kids were getting taken along to the first Rangers game tonight. And they got to see a classy goal by Thelo Asgard at the end. They get to see Majowski's going to get to see a hat trick. It was good goals at each end in both halves. Rangers never in danger, never any chance of an embarrassment, never any chance of any kind of slowing of the overall momentum that we're in just now. It was but as perfect a night as you can get. I was predicting we'd win 3-1 because I'm so used to it. I don't think it actually happens. I'll need to check into the facts of this because I keep going on about it, but I have this feeling, and maybe it's just a self-hating bigotry or something like that, but I have this thing since we come back into the top flight, like a decade now, 10 years, at least 2 times, I feel as if it's 4 or 5, but it's probably only 2 times. And maybe it's just Gerrard's first 2 seasons, Steven Gerrard's first 2 seasons. We do that thing where we get close to Celtic, or we're right in their back wheel, we've actually overtaken them, round about the New Year period, we win the NORDIC game, and then we start making signings in the January transfer window, particularly if there's a winter break, and there has been for most of these years. Although not this year or last, but there's usually a winter break, and it gives us time to stew on the fact that we are now the formed team. We've got a chance here of pulling Celtic back, and we'll start making some signings. Everybody feels great, and we've got a Scottish Cup game. The first game back is a Scottish Cup game, our first Scottish Cup match of the season, and it's against lower league opposition, and we struggle. It's a 2-1, it's a 2-0 or a 3-1 or something like that. That's what I need to check this out. I might just be talking nonsense against a Stranraer or a Queen of the South or Stirling Albion or something like that. I think Stirling Albion 4-0 that time we played them. But maybe that was that the night Hadji get injured though. But there's just something no very convincing about it. And then we end up, that sucks away at the momentum a wee bit, and then we'll go to Potty and draw midweek, and then it's another setback, and then we go to Parkhead or something, and they gob us. It's just, that's obviously, it doesn't happen like that all the time, but I feel as if it's happened a few times, and I was worried, you're worried that's going to happen tonight, and it just didn't. It just didn't. There's no winter break, but it's definitely a break from the routine we were in of 7 straight league games. And I know we beat Fraserburgh 5-0 in our first Scottish Cup match last season, and that ended, the next round was a total disaster, our worst Scottish Cup defeat of all time, at home to Queen's Park. But we're only 1-0 up at half time in that game against Fraserburgh. A non-league side, they would give Annan a game, but definitely a stage down from Annan. And I've never been angrier. I've never been angry with Rangers, and it's really strange. And I was at that, and I think it was exacerbated because nobody else around me seemed that angry. We're only beating Fraserburgh 1-0 at half time, a non-league side, and the players didn't seem angry about it. And I thought, this is, we're on the verge of, they just need to score one goal, and they'd already had I think Mason in goals had made a right arse of one chance Fraserburgh had. He basically took his eye off the ball. They nearly scored. I'm thinking, nobody's bothered. This could be the biggest humiliation of all time. And we come in the second half and scored 4 goals, and I thought, maybe I'm just being too harsh. It's that thing of they're really enthusiastic, but they've got limited fitness. They're all part-time, so we've just let them play themselves out in the first half, and the goals have flowed. You've got to pace yourself across the season. I'm probably being just a bit ignorant. Queen's Park game, no. Those chickens come home to roost. And Queen's Park scored with their only effort on goal, but that was their entire game plan. Their game plan worked to perfection. They were making it work with every fibre of their being, while we were just having hundreds of shots on goal, but it was kind of like, well, one of these will go in. That never works. That attitude never works. And it was there in the Fraserburgh game for all to see. It was stewing away in there, and there was nothing of that tonight. Nothing of that tonight at all. There's some rustiness, obviously, for guys who are coming back from long-term injury, short-term injuries, but also just no involvement in the first team. But it was lovely, and we opened the scoring after 12 minutes. It was Bojan Majowski. Danilo gave him the ball, and he does that thing that you're wanting to see your players doing against this standard of opposition. A bit of soft shoe shuffle, a bit of dribbling to make space for himself and rolling the ball. A nice wee shot into the bottom of the net. That's about 12 minutes in, and they couldn't get the ball off us. We just basically controlled the game in their half for the next, I think, 10 minutes or so. It was nice to see us moving the ball about quite comfortably, and at some point JD Gasma and Finlay Curtis swapped, so Curtis came on over the right-hand side and Gasma was over on the left-hand side, where we all know he's much more comfortable. And we really started to kind of control the game then. But you know what? You're not going to get the same. You're not going to get a second goal or whatever. It's going to drag on. 32 minutes. It's a lovely layoff, but a lovely move up the right-hand side by us, and it ends with Finlay Curtis putting a great ball over, a really simple ball probably for him, and maybe the standard of opposition made it look simpler, but he completely takes out the goalkeeper, and Majowski's at the back post to be on the end of this pinpoint cross from Finlay Curtis to nod it home for 2-0. Well, 3-0 up on them at Galabank. by 32 minutes the last time we played them in the Scottish Cup. So, not got ahead of ourselves. But the thing that took my breath away, and that not take my breath away, but it's right in front of me, was a layoff by Kieran Dow and the to Finlay Curtis that put Finlay Curtis in the space to put that cross in with such accuracy. He took it in a oneer and moved it on in a oneer. Nice stuff by Kieran Dow. Really, really nice stuff from him tonight. And again, you've got to take the standard of opposition into account, but so often we don't perform against this level of opposition. And that was a nice ball to the back post. And then Finlay Curtis, somebody put him through with a ball over the top of the offside trap. He goes through on goal. He's stretching. But he does well to get to it, and it comes back off the bar. He gets a bit too much on it, or he tries to cut it back or whatever. I can't remember what happened, but it comes back off the bar anyway at the bar. No changes at half time. St Phoenix out doing a set on the park, a couple of songs at half time. Usually it's DJ Derek Johnson or John Brown, but they've been getting the place psyched up, getting us going. But we are going now. No need for that. Time for a bit of chill out music. That was nice at half time there. That's a sound system, by the way. The roadies done the business with that one. No changes at half time, but it's only 2 minutes into the game where we basically end the game as a contest, if it ever was one. And it's Joe Rothwell on the left hand side, puts the ball over Kieran Dow, and a lovely kind of long looping head. It seemed to take forever, but just straight into the top corner, dropped into the top corner, kind of 70s style. The Annan goalkeeper all in green, so that's obviously got an agenda. He's obviously got an agenda. She deserved that. That was 3-0 to Rangers, and then we had. I know we had 5. I'm going to have a go at this. We had 5 substitutions, and then we started scoring the goals again. So we had all 5 substitutions between 3-0 and 4-0. And let me go. Let's go. It was the mnemonics. I thought. Remember this. It was the 2 guys who started at Aberdeen. The only 2 players in the team who'd started our previous game, and that was Gassama and Magoma. They go off. Who come on for them? Zebedee Wilson, that's the name you're not going to forget in a hurry, and Rabbi Matondo, somebody we almost had forgotten. It seemed like forever. He's in the kind of web-infested dark recesses of the first team squad. Come on for a second at Potty on Sunday, and this was him coming out in the 55th minute. Tonight, the 64th minute, we brought on, you've got to imagine that Rabbi Matondo's just getting a bit of game fitness, also a chance of a move somewhere, even just on loan. He's got to be, I think as he's winding in his contract, whatever. A bit late for Rabbi Matondo, but he went left wing anyway. And then around about the 64th minute, we took off. It was the 2 sitting midfielders, Rothwell and Dow. Off they went, had done okay, the 2 of them. I mean, the last time Joe Rothwell played against lower league opposition for us in the domestic cups, he scored for them. He scored for Alloa, didn't he? We only beat them 4-2. They're a league up from Annan, but it was good to see him having a tidy enough game. He had a one kind of slack moment, but a couple of really nice moments and an assist. And then it was a final substitution. No, sorry, who was coming on for them? Well, it was Tochi Chukwani, and who else? Another Thello Asgard come on. So Chukwani, that was him coming on 64th minute. Everybody up on their feet, applauding the new signing. He's a unit. He's big. He's basically the same size. He is the same size, I would say, as Diamande, Barron, and Raskin put together. So he's definitely the kind of size of player we want. Not in any way fat, obviously. Big muscular guy, a player. And he had a couple of nice touches and a goal line clearance right at the death. So he made himself very welcome, put himself about. Chukwani, the new signing from Sturm Graz, and I think it was at 71st minute we brought on Mikey Moore for Danny Röhl went off, so that was it. Nice for the kids in the crowd to see a bit of Mikey Moore doing his kind of dribbling stuff. And then we started scoring the goals again, and it was Majowski. Was it Clinton and Ciala? I'm not sure who got brought down. It was up the far end, obviously, from where I'm sitting. It's a penalty to Rangers. No Tav in the team tonight, so up steps Bojan Majowski for his hat-trick, and he puts it away nicely. Now, I don't know, I can't remember what foot he used for the penalty goal and what foot he used for the first goal of the game. I'm assuming it's probably going to be the same foot, but I'm getting a header. You'd like to think maybe he did the old left foot, right foot header thing for the perfect hat trick. But that's him, I think, maybe 8 goals now. I think it's definitely 8 goals for Bojan Majowski, and that's him scored in Europe against Ferencváros. He scored in the League Cup against Hibs. He scored in the league against Falkirk and 2 against Kilmarnock, and that's him get a hat-trick in the Scottish Cup. So he scored in all, well, he's only scored in all competitions because he played in the Champions League, and it is the one and only Finlay Curtis has scored in the Champions League for us this season, and the league against St Mirren, and the League Cup against Alloa. So, and he scored in the big friendlies. He scored in both the big friendlies we had at Ibrox this season against Middlesbrough and Bruges. So that's scoring in all competitions. the both of them. It'd be nice for Finlay Curtis to go off with, if he's going to go off to Kilmarnock, to sign off on a loan deal by scoring in another competition by scoring the Scottish Cup tonight. But he'd get pushed to left back. He'd get pushed to left back to fill in for Jayden Magoma from the 55th minute. So I knew there was going to be a kind of weird, they were going to do some sort of weird cover at left back. I went for Kieran Dowell, but turns out it was Finlay Curtis. And yeah, that was that. They thought that was the end of the scoring until Thelo Asgard. Christ, was it a free kick? I can't remember. Was it a free kick or just a shot? But Thelo Asgard had an absolute perler from outside the box right into the top corner. I think it was a free kick. It was class. Everybody's thinking about getting home. It's one of those games. It's done. It's over. But it was lovely. A lovely goal to finish with. And it's great to see him, who has the kind of air. He's a young guy still, Thelo Asgard, but he has looked a bit lackadaisical, disinterested, not the busiest at times. But that's him. He's scoring regularly. He really is scoring regularly. What is that? 4 in his last 6 games, maybe 4 in our last 6 games for Thelo Asgard, and I get another player who's improving, who's ticking along, who's getting better and better under Danny Röhl. This thing is it's augmenting, it's growing, and it really feels great. And the Scottish Cup, we've got to win it. We've got to win the Scottish Cup. Not just because we won 5-0 tonight. We're supposed to win these games 5-0, but as I say, we don't always do that. It's one of those kind of negative positive, not a negative positive, kind of negative positives, a negative. An unrecognised and a positive we don't want to talk about. Like I'm always talking about how when we come back into the top flight, 2016-17, we're all we think we're being we think we're being really open-minded and patient by saying, I don't think we'll win the league this season. No, but we struggled to finish third in our first season back, struggled to finish third in our second season back. By the time Steven Gerrard comes in, we're like, this is getting out of order, I'm sick of this, it's a total disaster. And then Gerrard has us looking like the form team at the new year. Doesn't happen. We're really unhappy that we've finished second. But we've completely failed to notice or take cognizance of the fact that we've pushed away from all the rest of the teams in the league. We are second to Celtic, and that's no good enough for Rangers. But what we'd been through, and the club's still kind of rebuilding its infrastructure. We were in second place. Third was no longer an option for us, and we'd pushed away from all the other teams in the league. It was only Celtic, the only team with more money than us, or the same kind of money as us, that were getting ahead of us, and that's as should be. And I think it's the same with this. If we don't win the league this season, and that's it, too late. Danny Röhl's too late now. He's said it's going to go to the last day of the season, and we've got these new signings in, so it's not a case of, well, this is better than we ever expected it to be this early, in the 49ers rebuild. No, you've got to win the league now, or else it's a total disaster. But if we don't, because it won't be a total disaster, the Scottish Cup is something we've got to win, because we've got to win something. It's a good fallback to have. We've got to win something twice since we come back into the top flight. Seeing Annan again triggers all these things. We've won the League Cup once. We've won the league once. We've won the Scottish Cup once. 2022 since we won the Scottish Cup. We won it once in 17 years, the Scottish Cup. That's a disgrace for Rangers. But if we can win one of these trophies twice, and the Scottish Cup is only variable now. We've got 2 European games left. We're done in the Europa League. 2 European games, 16 league games. The Scottish Cup's the only one that's variable. So we want to get the handful of games out of that. And one of the games, if we do win the Scottish Cup or we get to the Scottish Cup final, that will be after the league programme's finished. So that's one big game that won't interfere with the league programme. Let's just do it. The idea, if we don't win the league, if it does go down to the last day of the season, as Danny Röhl was predicting during the week there, well, it's good to have this. If we lose the league in the last day of the season, it's good to have the Scottish Cup as a fallback, because that way it's nailed on material progress that we've finally won one of the major trophies for a second time since we got back into the top flight. It's something that the 49ers to pin their momentum on, because it will be a step improvement for Rangers to win a major domestic trophy for a second time since coming back into the top flight, and then we just start trying to win them all the time. Really earnestly, and we have to get back to Hampden again. It was quite a thing losing that Scottish Cup match to Queen's Park, our biggest Scottish Cup humiliation of all time. but I can't help it. It's tempered somewhat. It's not tempered, but it's something about it because it's Queen's Park who are the Scottish Cup. You know, Queen's Park have, outside Rangers and Celtic, Queen's Park are the next team, the third most Scottish Cups to the name. I don't think they won any. Did they get to the final in 1900 or something like that? They haven't won it since the 19th century. But Aberdeen and Hearts are on 8 each. They've won 8 Scottish Cups each. They're the next after Queen's Park, who've got 10. And it's like Real Madrid won the first 5 European Cups. Even if Real Madrid hadn't won another 10 European Cups and Champions League since then, Real Madrid are the European Cup because they set the standard. They set the glory, they set the glamour, and it's the same with Queen's Park. They won the first 3 Scottish Cups. And I was I feel like leaving them the next 3, and then Queen's Park won the next 3 again, I think. They are the Scottish, and it's Hampden. They're also Hampden. Queen's Park, they'll always be Hampden, even if they move to Lesser Hampden, even if they move somewhere else altogether. Queen's Park will always be Hampden. Hampden will always be, for guys of my age anyway, for anybody in the 20th century, it'll be the Scottish Cup final and the League Cup final. And Rangers losing to, we've been to Hampden, I think is it the last 3 seasons, 2 seasons, we've always got there to semi-final or final. It's only Celtic who are beating us in semi-finals or finals. Back at Hampden, we've got to go that. We've got to get that out of our system as well. We've got to get past Celtic at Hampden as well. So we've got to do this in the Scottish Cup. In the Scottish Cup itself, we are on 34 Scottish Cup titles. Celtic are on 46. Aye, they're 8 ahead of us in the Scottish Cup, and they're always ahead of us. My whole life they've been ahead of us in Scottish Cups. Sometimes just, I think we've drawn level a few times, but Celtic always get ahead of us in the Scottish Cup. Now we're only 6 ahead of them in League Cups. That's still substantial, and I have watched, or I've attended most of the ones that Celtic have beaten in the League Cup final so many times recently. Or the semi-final in this season, they didn't have the decency to win the final. But 55 each in terms of league titles, and we're in 5 European finals. Celtic have only 3, so we're obviously beating them in European terms. Maybe the one trophy they won slightly trumps the one trophy we won in Europe. So it's all eeksy peeksy. But the Scottish Cup's the one that's kind of getting away from us. So we've got to get, just in general, got to get that back. I think Celtic go through these long kind of fallow periods in their history, same as ourselves. But we would start catching them in the Scottish Cup during these periods. Like I think they only won it they won the double in 54, like post-war, and that Celtic really poor. And they won in the Scottish Cup. They won the double, Jockstein as their captain. 54, I think it was 1954. And won the Scottish Cup. The season before that, 1953, Annan Athletic won the double, who we put out the Scottish Cup tonight. So they won the Carlisle and District League and the Cumberland Senior Cup double. I think it was 1952-53. So that's who we put to the sword tonight. No reason we shouldn't put Celtic to the sword in the Scottish Cup. But I think that the great Rangers team of the early to mid 60s, when they won the treble in 1964, the kind of high point winning the treble in 64 and beating Dundee in the Scottish Cup final. Both teams wearing their away kits, 120,000 there. That was us drawing level with Celtic, I think, at that point. And then the following season, Celtic had finished 11th in the league, and they played Dunfermline in the Scottish Cup final. Dunfermline, who won the Scottish Cup in 61, and we won it again in 68. And Dunfermline, who had finished, I think, a point behind Hearts and Kilmarnock, who tied on points at the top of the league in 65. And Celtic beat them. Jockstein's back. He comes back as our manager by this point. And Billy McNeill, last minute header. I think they win the Scottish Cup to go one ahead of us again. And I think in 2009, the last but one times we won the Scottish Cup, I think we were 1 or 2 behind Celtic, and then we don't get back to the final, and everything happens. We go back in 2016, of course, and Hibs beat us in the final, and then Celtic beat us a last minute winner in 2024, the last time we made the final. But it's, the Celtic then had four consecutive trebles after we'd put them out the 2015-16 Scottish Cup at semi-final stage. So they're just getting away from us again, We need to get in there. It's only, as I say, at the Hearts, Aberdeen won it 8 times each, Queen's Park 10 times. And then it's like 4 or 5 teams on 3 Scottish Cups. Kilmarnock, Clyde's, Hibs. Cardiff, Clyde, Hibs. Who else? St Mirren only went twice, haven't they? They won 3 League Cups. This is terrible. Who else has won this? Who else have we got in Scotland? Dunfermline, I've only won it twice. Vale of Leven, they've won it 3 times. The old Vale of Leven, and there's somebody else anyway. I'm sorry whoever it is. It says it's very late in the morning. It's very late on, but there's not that many. We're so far ahead of everybody else in terms of Scottish Cups. We just need to get a bit closer to Celtic. It's a tournament we should. Little snagging items. Talking the Scottish Cup, I was talking in my preview pods about. I was trying to say it as like Swedes were rubbish and Danes were great because it's Laudrup versus Larson. But no, of course that's not strictly true. And Fraser, who gets in touch regularly, he was reminding me of Orjan Persson, great Swede, who scored the only goal of the game when Rangers became the first team to beat Celtic after they won the European Cup. 67-68 season in front of 90,000 at Ibrox. Fraser was saying that's massively a big crowds, and that's Philip Hollander scoring the winner against Celtic in Ange Postecoglou's first Old Firm game. Big Phil, the Swedes, saw him playing for Sweden in the Euro 2020 in 2021 at Hampden against Ukraine. And then there was, of course, in terms of Danes, in terms of the Scottish Cup, Peter Lovencrest. I mean, I'm going on about Kai Johansson. Well, 66. I mean, I wasn't even born then. But I'm at the game in 2002 when he scored the last minute winner on the Scottish Cup. One of the greatest days of my life. One of the most mind-bogglingly exciting games ever. Peter Lovencrantz scores a couple of goals in that one, last minute winner against Celtic to win the Scottish Cup. Didn't even mention it on it. I'm talking about Danes being great for Rangers and Swedes are great for Celtic. So that's, apologies for that, Scottish Cup memories. But Rangers are through, and the positivity is through the roof in this game. Maintain that positivity. So I'll talk to these folks very briefly. I'm sorry that it got a bit longer than I was trying to get it to half an hour. It was 45 minutes. Then I realised it was just 44 minutes and 30 seconds of. I'm going to have to record this again. So you'll have to excuse me. Sorry, that's the flu and the dementia kicking in. I'll be back to you. I'll maybe try and knock something up quickly on Monday as a debrief to this and any other transfer news. And I'm going to try and do 2 really brief pods during the week before the Ludogorets game. Maybe get a preview for Ludogorets out on Wednesday. But no more 2-hour pods, folks. And I'll know how to use my gloves next time I'm doing a post-match reaction for you outside Ibrox. Wilfred, that's the first of 3 with 7 straight SPFL Premiership games that went really, really well. And now we have got 3 straight games at Ibrox in 3 different competitions, and the first one we've done really well, and I'll be quite happy to win the next one 4-0 and the one against Dundee 3-0. But I'll talk to you on Monday, troops. Thanks for your patience.